listening, and I know you've been blessing them as you've been blessing me. So could you share um just any words of encouragement to somebody who is navigating marriage, whether they're in year one or whatever year they are? Because we can all get wisdom from each other. Any words of encouragement to someone who's getting ready to get married, something that they should look out for, or for somebody who's already married. You could decide who you want to encourage at this moment.
I would say if you're single and you're getting ready to be married and the person that you're dating, like you said, look for signs, or if this is something that I want to deal with or I want to put up with, because sometimes we get so caught up that we don't pay attention to those signs.
Mm-hmm.
We see it when we get into it. So looking and always, be aware of what's going on in a relationship. You're not going to find out everything, especially if you're not living together. But I also say, yeah, it's always great to be attracted to the person that you're with. But I said, don't let that be the only thing that you is, because if you're only attracted to that person and then there's nothing else attached to that, as far as relationship wise, or, when you get married, if something happens to that person, then, or you go through some trials and tribulations, are you really going to sustain that marriage? So what was it all about? Was it about the fact that you love each other, the fact that you're going to stick with each other, the fact that you're going to have each other back? Was it really love or was it really lust? So you got to know the difference between the two. So that makes a big difference, because being married for a long time, a lot of that stuff fades, because you've been with the same person for we've been 19 years going on. So temptation is always out there. So if you don't have more than that, then it can be hard.
Mm-hmm. What I would say is there's some things that I believe that needs to be foundation. When we were on our 15th anniversary, I remember this specifically because this was something that we did intentionally. We went out for dinner and then we went to walk in a park, and we did an assessment of our marriage when we were married for 15 years to find out what worked. What was it that actually was helping us to be successful? And the first thing we both said was he allows me to be me and I allow him to be him. We were individuals before we got married. I heard someone say that you don't come into a marriage 50-50, because in God's eyes, 50 plus 50 gives you 50. So you're going to be living an unhappy life. Mm-hmm. You bring in 100, the other person brings in 100, and that gives you a completion. So just allowing the other person to just be them, that's why you got married to them in the first place. Because that's supposed to be the reason. Because you love them for them, their personality, the whole package, and allowing them to be their individual selves is so essential. Because if you try to take away from that, then you're going to change the person and you're going to be unhappy. So that's one of the things. That's one of the things I love about Tim. I have my own business, and a lot of times I only work 2 days out of the week. There are times when I'm at a client's house at 11 o'clock in the night. And you can just imagine, with him also being an officer, he sees things out there that he's probably, going, I got to protect her from. But he doesn't stop me from doing what I do. What he does is he keeps me accountable. So, and I can tell you, like clockwork, Shelly, I be at an appointment and I look on my phone at 9 o'clock, he's calling me just to check to see if I'm okay. And sometimes I'll just text him just before, like, babe, I'm good. I'll call you when I'm done because we're running a little bit late. And even when I do run a little bit late, and I sometimes I'm driving 2 hours away from home. I'm just driving home and I'm tired. I've been on the road all day. He will talk to me for 2 hours all the way home to make sure I'm saying all of this to say, just allow the other person to be themselves and support them. God blesses what you bring, and everybody has something to bring. Don't change your status quo, because it's just going to make both of you unhappy. The other thing is, if you're already married, it's kind of late, but One of the things that I did before we got married was I asked God to show me. I remember praying one night going, God, if this is the person you have for me, when I wake up in the morning, I want to be 100% sure, like completely convinced, like no doubt that if anybody comes against me, if the whole world came against me, I would be able to stand with him and say, this is who God has for me without a doubt. And needless to say, that happened. Like the next morning I woke up and I knew without a doubt. And if you have if you have that level of commitment, that level of conviction, then everything else that you do will follow, because you won't mind serving the other person. You won't mind submitting to the other person. And as I say this, I'm going to say this to all of these women out there who your mama told you that you shouldn't make no man walk all over you. You know, and I'm telling you from personal experience, make sure when you go out to bring your own money so that if you need to leave, you can have bus, you know, fare to come home.
Next money.
When I tell you, Shelly, God squashed all of that for me before I got married to him. I wasn't working when I met him. And it was hard because that's what mama told me, right? And when God told me he was going to give me a job, I walked for 2 days handing out resumes and nobody gave me a job. And I went back to God. I was like, I thought you were going to give me a job. He asked me, why do you want a job? I said, because I want my own money. So I ain't got to ask him for nothing. That you know, and you know what, God, he stopped me and he goes, just because you got the wrong intention. That's why I'm not giving it to you. The reason why you should want a job is so you can pool your resources together. So you can support him, he can support you. You come together, two becomes one, so that together you guys are stronger, because now it's two of you, not one. So you do it so that you can contribute to the relationship, not so that you can, you know what I'm saying, forge your own thing. And when I tell you after, and then the other thing you said to me, right, I said, that's what mama said. He said, well, where's mama now? The relationship that mama have, is that what you're trying to get? You know? And I had to admit that, no, I wanted to be happy. I didn't want to wake up 50 years and go, you sold up for the best 50 years of my life, right? You know, so that had to break. That single mindset had to break. I mean, a lot of things has to break in you, and you just have to be, you just listen, just embrace the process. That's what it is. It's the process. Just embrace it. It's not going to get any easier. If you fight it, it's just going to get harder. Embrace the process, and just understand God's standards. Whatever God's standards are, make them your own. And that's one of the things that I thank God that we were able to do as a foundation for our marriage, was make God's standards our own. We have